So with that in mind, then, where did you start the process for the self-titled album? Was there something you had in mind already before the whole process started?
No, I think that what I've had to do, and what the band's done, is we've separated the two. Touring, live show, totally separate than writing and studio time. So I think for me, I don't really write, you know, I mean, I'm running a lot of aspects of the band, so I've tried to just separate it, and really this past few years really try to put the emphasis into my voice and trying to eat healthier, not do the drinking, even though it sucks sometimes because I love a drink just like the next person, but the alcohol just to squash my vocal cords, and I don't sound as good, and I don't think it's fair to people that have lived their lives now with Pop Evil music becoming a part of their lives to show up at a show and I'm not sounding as good as I can. So, and when you play, you know, 5 to 7 shows a week, it's so tough to sound good every night anyways. So it's so important for me to take those proactive steps to be, you know, the best frontman I can be for those fans that are coming, and most of them maybe even seeing us for the first time. So, you know, there's a responsibility thing that I think has changed. As you get bigger, you can just understand that, wow, there's a different kind of weight that shifts. You're not as mad, people, you know, because no one knows you. They suddenly are knowing you, and you're not as mad about that. You're like, wow, like, oh, I better be good now. I better sound good, because there's a consequence. You know, you don't want to lose fans because you're being selfish, and because I'm out staying up till 5 in the morning drinking Jaeger bombs. You know, it's something that I had to, you know, really make some personal changes with, and you know, for the better. I mean, I feel a lot better anyways, and it's maybe a little more boring, right? Because I got to be on the bus and sit there and be still and watch TV a little bit more than I'd like. But you know, it's the sacrifices that you have to make that make you a better person and make you better musician. So
you mentioned the growing success with every album, and did that add, in a similar way, some pressure to kind of live up to what you've built?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I think there's always pressure, just because I don't think it's to be better. It's like, if in this day and age, being a rock band, if you don't do better, you go home. That's it. I mean, your survival is everything. And when you're a new band, or a band of this era, maybe I should say, it's you live month to month. I mean, just to keep the lights on, we got to play shows every month, or it's all she wrote. You know, so. There's definitely, I don't know if it's a pressure to be better, that's certainly there, but the pressure is to live, you know, I mean, it's like to survive, so it's even greater, you know, it's like, wow, this has got to be better, because, you know, and I think the challenge now is we've had, you know, we've been blessed enough to have the success we've had in the US that, you know, we can't just write the same songs, you know, I mean, I think that being in a band in general is not staying in one place. I mean, I think that's the luxury we have that bigger bands don't have. There's an expectation from your fans. Metallica has to sound like Metallica. You know, it's a little harder for them to stray off the beaten path, or you know, the fans might get upset. But for us, you know, that was part of being Pop Evil. We're able to be more experimental, and you know, I can do a vocal range that's more melodic, or I can take one a little more, you know, a rappy style, rap rock style, and I can be just monotone and just spit the lyrics opposed to singing them. So it's been definitely more exciting for me and the band to not stay still, and we can just keep exploring our identity. But we're trying to dial that in a little more on this record to give this album the yin and yang that Pop Evil truly is.
Well, that's because I read somewhere that, and am I right in saying that this album, you're trying to focus, like you say, in on this identity and kind of letting the people know what you do lyrically, what you do sonically?
Yeah, the identity is huge here. I mean, I think that's a little bit of the disconnect what we have with our fan base right now, is I think that all the albums leading up to this one are a little bit scattered. So trying to dial that in and make sure that our evil's evil and heavy and our pop is vibier and more melodic, less cheese, right? Because when you're dealing with melody, you run the borderline of cheesy pop. So, you know, I mean, you got to be, and that's exactly what we're against in a way, right? So you have to tread that line lightly, and sometimes you nail it, sometimes you don't, but it's not being afraid to fail, you know? I mean, like, we write songs, next song, you know? So I think that to be able to be a musician and be in a band and not be afraid to fall on your face, that's given us more opportunities to have the successful songs we have, because, you know, it's just, you know, we don't live as unsure or as I don't know if afraid's the right word, or as shy as we might be to try things now, with even with each other internally. We're like, dude, let's try that. no, that's going to ruin our career, like we shouldn't do that. And instead we don't want any obstructions. We want to just be like open-minded to bring any song to the table, any idea. If later on we realize that's not a Pop Evil song, or even if we realize when we start playing a certain song live that, no, I hate playing that. That's not even, no, we're done playing it. Like, it's like, we have to realize that on our own, and we have to mature. And sometimes we have to mature, actually being a new band, up and coming, you mature right in front of people's eyes, you know? So you're vulnerable, you're taking risks constantly, but you know, it's rock and roll, man. That's what makes it great. And metal, it's raw, it's natural. It's not polished with a big microphone on my head and a bunch of choreographer dancers on the back. It's hair in your face, you know, no makeup on. It's, you know, I haven't shaved in a few weeks. You know, it's like, it's who you are, and not afraid to be as beautiful or ugly as we are. And that's what makes it great, you know.
You touched upon something, I read that this was a record where you as a band had a lot of big discussions.
Yeah.
So can you take me through what?
For this record? Yeah, I mean, a lot of big discussions. You know, you talk about just, you know, behind the scenes, just about coming together on this record differently. We didn't know how we were going to do it. The big thing we did was we normally, past records, we would record everything separately. Not just because it was the way to record at that time for us, we didn't get any breaks during the year. So our only time we could break and see our families were basically studio breaks. So when you go to record the drums, I don't have to record the drums, so I'm gonna go see my family for a minute, you know what I mean? So, but that didn't help gel the band, right? And it gave our sound a little bit of a different disconnect with the fans, because you come hear us live and we'd sound a little more raw and polished and heavy, or excuse me, raw and heavy, where the albums were a little more polished, right? So you'd really, the fans just, it was just different. So it was a little confusing, I think, to the fans. So now we've made that big commitment to each other to try to be together when we wrote this stuff, so we could bounce back and forth. And I mean, and that was terrifying. You know, we're like, okay, are we gonna be all fighting at each other's throats? Like, no, I don't want that part. No, you gotta play, nah, I don't like it. So all the ideas would be squashed and everyone would be afraid to, you know, speak their mind. So, but it actually, once we got into the groove, it was the best thing we could have done, and a lot of positivity, a lot of support for each other started to just happen very organically, and next thing you know, we were having fun again. And I think that you're gonna hear that on this record. It's not only is it a better sonic record, and musically, obviously, it's our best, and the lyrics, it's in my opinion, the best stuff we've done, or I've been able to tap into, but just the fun we're having. And I mean, you can already hear it on our first single, Waking Lions. I mean, it's heavy, but there's a confidence and swag to the song that we haven't had on our past records.
How has Hayley joining the band affected this process?
She's a huge factor. I mean, obviously, not just Hayley, drums were a huge thing missing on the previous records. You know, we had great show drummers and things that, you know, could help get us to where we needed to be, but in the studio, there's no lying. It's you're either a great studio drummer or you're not. I mean, there's no hiding behind it. And you know, we never really had that great studio drummer before, you know, and so there was concern when Hayley first came in if she was going to be able to fulfill that role, or is she just going to be a live drummer, you know, and squashed every bit of doubt when we had her in the studio. She's a studio genius. She was amazing, and the way she came in there and really took a unique experience, just still, I mean, she had been with us for a year now live, but she'd never been with us in the studio. So to take a bunch of new people in a recording environment and really step into her own was truly something powerful that we needed. And it laid the foundation. She laid the bricks where we could build the house around her now, and we knew it was solid. We knew these songs weren't going to cave, right? Because she already had that rock kind of that she had built, and just her being a woman in general gave us that. She's so more open to just giving that girl vibe for a guy that's like, okay, rather than a guy drummer telling you, no, I don't like it, you know, like she was like, in her British accent too, because she's from the UK, so she'd be like, it's very good, boys. I think I sound Australian, but anyways, but you get it. She has this very amazing accent, so she just talked to us very calmly, and it would just kind of set our nerves at ease, and you know, we could really bring it down. So she's just, you know, her personality, both on and off the stage, in and out of the studio, is something that we didn't know we wanted, but now that we have, we feel very lucky that we have it. So she's a huge impact.
Is there a song in particular that you think where she really shines?
There's, yeah, well, the whole album, but there's this one Ex Machina that she's using. She's on 4 different drum kits on the song, and it's explosive. The song is pissed off, it's aggressive, it's reckless. It's all the things we've always dreamed about having on a pop evil song, and definitely one of my favorites on the record for sure.